Hello, I'm Sarah Simi, and this is PullOut. Today I've got OK magazine, just OK magazine this time, and it's from September the 13th, 1975. I particularly picked this one out actually because I really, really like the sweater that she's wearing, the jumper that she's wearing on the front cover. Because I'm fairly sure I attempted to knit one. I know I didn't buy one, but I've got a vague feeling I attempted to knit one. It's kind of like I suppose like a sort of dinner jacket with a bow tie and a sort of carnation in the lapel and buttons down the front, but it's all knitted into the design. Anyway, I loved it very much. And as I say, I think I had to go at knitting one. Probably ended up in the bin. The headlines on the front cover are Kenny saying it straight, classy clothes combos, parties pooped or peachy. God, they were really going for some alliteration there, weren't they? And okay, what's the trouble? Your two-part problem solve special, which we will dig into. Anyway, just getting straight into page 2. This is a really weird quiz. I don't know why they've even written it. The quiz is called Are You Dicing with Death? Are you bold, reckless, devil may care, or is your life calm, predictable, and just a bit boring? I'm sure you're aching to find out, so let's dig in. Number 1. Nobody can really enjoy splitting with their boyfriend, but when you and yours come to the parting of the ways, whose decision is it usually? A. Yours. B. His. C. Mutual. D. Nobody's because you've got him in a grip of iron. I'm not sure if that's dicing with death or just being not very nice. Number 2, Whoopi, your boss or father has had a brainstorm. And what? And you've got an unexpected £10 bonus. What will you do with it? Is this like Monopoly? Why has your boss or your father had a brainstorm and got an unexpected £10 bonus? Anyway, obviously only men can get £10 bonuses. Just to... A, put it in your holiday fund. B, buy a new dress. C, put it on a horse. D, put it into a savings account. Number 3, your man arrives at the wheel of his first car to take you for a drive. At what speed would you prefer to travel? A, 80 miles per hour. B, 20 miles per hour. C, walking pace because you're not getting in. Or D, 50 miles per hour. Number 4, one of those situations is arising. Hello, situations is in inverted commas. You're with a new man. There's a late night party on, and sooner or later he's going to start wanting more than you are prepared to give. What do you do? A, make sure that your friend sticks by you. B, go home immediately. C, carry on regardless. D, cross your fingers. God. Number 5, how many of the following do you do? Water ski, skydive, swim, drive. That's really dicing. Number 6, how many of the following do you have? A deposit account. B, insurance policy. C, stocks and shares. D, money box. Oh dear. Number 7, most of us have to work somewhere. So what attracts you about your job? A, a pension. B, big money. C, excitement. D, permanency. Dear, it's a kiss of death, isn't it? 8, which holiday most appeals to you? Exploring in the Amazon. B, working in an archaeological dig in Turkey. C, a week in Blackpool. D, Spain. Sun, sand, and men. I know which one I'm choosing. Number 9. You love him, but he's got little prospects and not much of a job. There's no chance of a house, but now he's proposed. Which phrase most sums up your attitude? A, love conquers all. B, marry in haste, repent at leisure. C, I need time to think. D, we can work it out. I think that was a Beatles song. Lastly, number 10. Have you ever A. Ridden a horse. B. Taken a day off work or school just for the fun of it. C. Accepted a drink without knowing what it was. Why would you ever do that? D. Accepted a lift from a strange man. Again, why would you do that? That's, yeah. Dicing with death, just being plain stupid, I would have thought. But anyway. So a slightly odd quiz that was. So, moving on. There's the weirdest advert in this one, really wild advert, and I found another. It's for minors makeup, and I found another one recently that was like really creepy and weird. And this is particularly creepy and weird. It's just kind of two hands in the desert. One white and one looks like they've got a kind of, I don't know, black rubber glove on. And with painted nails. It's the weirdest advert. The amazing capture of the fingertip freakouts. I think somebody might have been way off their tits when they were writing the copy for that advert. From cool to cruel, you can even strike gold if you dare. Miners nail varnish. Anyway, bit weird. This is a fantastic article. The title of it was possibly my most favourite title. It's called "Does Love Care What You Wear?" Oh God, I bet they had fun writing that. Does love care what you wear? I think you probably can already assume what the article is about. But to clarify, it's about whether what you're wearing or what he's wearing is important in the relationship. We start. This is what Jane Moore has to say about her boyfriend. Kenny was a nice bloke. I always thought that right from the first time I met him, but that was at a party. And he must have been determined to find himself a girl that night because he looked reasonably well dressed. He had on a nice jacket and a pair of neatly pressed jeans. Oh dear. So anyway, we got chatting and he asked me out. And within a few weeks, we'd seen a lot of each other and I'd really got to like him. But the trouble was, I've always felt it was important for men to look good. And after knowing Kenny for a couple of weeks, I thought he began to look incredibly tatty. It was as if he felt that once he'd got his girl, there was no need to make any effort. Oh dear. It continues. Oh dear. She's upset about things. Yeah. But it wasn't like that. I reckoned that if he didn't want to look nice for me, he couldn't care about me. I got very upset. I can tell you. So one day I tried new tactics and bought him a smashing sweater. And he went crazy. He told me that I wasn't going to let me rule him and dress him up like a showpiece. Oh, all right, Kenny. She was just buying you a jumper. Anyway, in the end, I stormed off in tears, and I didn't see him for 6 days after that. I don't know whether to contact him or not. But in bed each night, it occurred to me that Kenny, the person, and not Kenny, the well-dressed guy, was the one that I was missing. Oh, dear oh Lord. This one is... There's somebody else that she's going out with somebody who just doesn't. One of the... they've just picked out this little bit of someone's quote. I was his star turn. When I met his friends, he showed me off like a piece of bone china. Oh, that's always what I want to be shown off as, like a piece of bone china. This is Catherine Noble writes. Catherine Noble has had a A good few rows with her boyfriend where clothes are concerned. My problem was that Dave wasn't bothered about the way I looked, and that made me think he didn't care. He's the sort of guy, in his heart thinks the world of you, but never actually says so. Same goes for clothes. Every time I buy something new, he never even notices. Even the most lavish dress, plunging neckline. Um, Plunging neckline and all passes unnoticed. Oh dear. I remember bursting into tears once because we were going to a party and I had made a lovely dress. But when he turned up, he didn't make a single comment. And all of a sudden, I started to think I must look horrible. Oh, Catherine. The thing is, I've always lacked confidence, and wearing nice clothes that make you look really good helps to give you that confidence back, I think. If you feel good, then to a certain extent if you look good, then to a certain extent you feel good. But with Dave not taking the slightest bit of notice in my appearance, my self-respect dwindled daily. I wanted to get a compliment out of him, even any reaction, but he just kept insisting really offhand that it didn't matter what he wore. Oh, I hate you, I remember screaming one day. You wouldn't care if I walked down the street stark naked. And then I burst into tears, and the whole business came to a climax. Ooh, not that kind of one, I don't think. He then put his arms around me and comforted me and showed a gentleness that I'd never seen before. And the amazing thing was that once we got talking, I realized that all I wanted was a little more love from him. He admitted that my appearance wasn't important to him because he loved me, whatever I looked like. And he thought I knew that. So I told him he'd never even said that he'd loved me, and oh God, this escalates quickly, and he made up for it right away by asking me to marry him. Oh, that went from didn't notice her plunging necklines to marriage. Escalated quickly. Anyway, does love care what you wear? Well, I've moved on to this is okay, okay. I don't know why it's called okay, okay, but it is. This is one of my favourite sections when people basically answer a letter or something that happened in a previous magazine. People get angry. This is another angry section. So this is, remember back in July, we let a certain young American lad by the name of Jerry Ricks have his say in OK. Remember what he said about Great Britain? About the rollers being a second-rate group? About us girls being fat and giggly? We do only too well, because since then, we've had letter after letter telling us what you think. Here are just some of them. Brace yourself, Jerry. These are so funny. This is from two patriotic Britain backers, Honey Denny and Miranda Seymour. We are absolutely boiling with rage. In fact, we're foaming, seething, and grinding our teeth over the July the 5th issue of OK. It's not that we don't like OK, it's just that we didn't like the un-OK, this is very difficult to read, the un-OK letter from one of your readers in the OK USA column. Just who does he think he is? Let us tell you this, Gary Ricks, if this is so funny. If we saw you in tight checked trousers, suede sneakers, and tinted shades, we'd run a mile, to put it mildly. Yuck. If America's full of people like you, we wish it would sink to the bottom of the Atlantic. Oh, that's a bit strong. Skeleton girls, checked pants, suede shoes, hot dogs and all. Back to the friendly bustle of a London road and the courteous policemen who don't carry guns. And we're glad there's over 4,000 miles of sea between England and sunny USA. Goodness, they're angry. They're all angry. These people are angry. This is Anita Bailey. She's actually said it. She says, I'm an angry OK reader. I have never read such rubbish as written in OK by Mr. Ricks in the USA column. He's a peanut brain and a right old chauvinist pig. God, you tell him, Anita. The rollers have more talent in their little toes than all your Americans put together. And who wanted you to send your stupid Osmonds over here in the first place? In Britain, personality in a girl matters just as much as a pretty face, a large chest, and a big bum. Oh dear. Mr. Ricks also said our giggling drove him mad. Well, in my opinion, he's mad already, and I'm not a bit surprised that the girl he danced with laughed. It was probably at him. I mean, check trousers, suede sneakers, and tinted shades. How revolting. So, back to the USA with you. For goodness sake, stay there. I don't know why there's so much attention on the suede sneakers and the check trousers. Really riled them up. This one is from Julie Cross, and she is. My blood has just cooled down from reading the article on what one of our stateside friends thought about Britain after his visit. I came back from America in October last year after going on an exchange visit there for 1 month. Personally, I love the place. Oh, but dear. But it's not perfect, and nor is Mr. Riggs. Politeness. Well, for instance, after only being in the country for 1 hour, my friend was pushed down an escalator, her luggage thrown after her, and she was insulted. I don't know why. Seems a little extreme. Oh, yeah, by the way, giggling happens to be universal. They do it in China and Outer Mongolia. Fashion is something that was banished from the US in the 30s. At least over here, you could just about tell the lads from the girls. We wear skirts, and I'm proud that our fellas take more interest in what they wear. We don't need to wear sunglasses against the glare of red and orange checked trousers. They're really angry about the trousers. All in all, I felt I had had the best holiday of my life in the US, and the party of Americans who came over here thought the UK was okay, despite people who think like Mr. Ricks. More and more Americans come here. Strange, isn't it? Oh dear, goodness, everyone was very, very angry. Oh dear. On the next page, I'm not going to read out the recipe because it's fairly dull, but there is it just made me laugh. It's what's okay cooking. They've given us a lovely recipe. And it says, here's a wee shortbread. No, it's not. It's a wee Scots gingerbread recipe in honour of the Rollers, Pilot, Average White Band, etc., etc. They really take the cake. Okay. So they've given you a recipe to celebrate the Bay City Rollers. They've even actually popped Bay City Rollers hat in with a lovely illustration of the ingredients that you need to make the aforementioned gingerbread. That's lovely, isn't it? I just turned over to All About Men, which is written by Sally, who does love a column about men. I just had to read out the title. I've not seen this before. This must have been a kind of new feature in this magazine. All About Men. The special OK page where we talk about men we've met, men we've noticed, men we'd like to meet, and some we wish we hadn't. Well, that covers it all, doesn't it? It's a full gamut of men. Sally's obviously feeling very horny again today. She says, did you ever watch that program on TV called The Streets of San Francisco? I thought it was one of the best things going. Not because of the content, which wasn't bad, but not a patch on Kojak, but because of Michael Douglas. He played Steve Keller, the smooth inspector, and boy, was he smooth. He's quite simply one of the most delicious things on two legs. Sally, right in. It's funny how these detective programs always produce some fabulous looking guys. There's good old Crocker keeping Kojak company. But even Crocker will have to spruce himself up to keep up with Steve Keller. Dear, she really does have a. Oh, oh she's got all hot under the collar, Sally. Anyway, moving on. It's, this is a very confusing magazine. It's where everything's in a different place, but we've got some random problems on a weird page. Anyway, let's dig in with the problems because we always love a problem. What am I to do? I'm 14 and in a terrible scrape. My parents both look at me as a slaggish type of girl. And say that I'm not to be trusted. Oh, what a terrible thing to say. This is not true. I had a boyfriend who they thought was very nice, and I do not let boys use me in any way. My father says I flirt and doesn't let me go out. My friends are very trustworthy, clean girls. I don't know if in mind or in body, but they're clean and very trustworthy. Oh dear! But I can't talk. I can't talk it over with my parents. I've tried to be on good terms with them, but that was wrong too. I thought of running away. Oh, but realised that that's no good. What can I do? And that's Jenny in London. Fancy somebody calling you, your parents calling you slaggish. Anyway, I don't know who's answering these today. No, don't know. As far as we can see, one of two things has happened to you and your parents, Jenny. Either you have unwittingly given them the impression that you are the sort of girl they think you are, or they are just very strict by nature. It would be easier for you if it was the first thing that it happened. You could explain your views and be careful not to seem too flirtatious and boy mad in the future, and hopefully all would be well. If it is for the second reason, then it is going to be tough. Sometimes, though, if parents are unreasonably strict or critical, girls find that talking to their teacher at school helps. The teacher may be able to have a word with your mum and dad, and this coming from an outsider often encourages parents to rethink their views. Dear. Then it says, oh, they may be reacting this way because they see their daughter growing up from a girl into a pretty vivacious young woman, and that may scare them a bit. They may think that some smooth-tongued boy is going to sweep you off your feet, and before you are really experienced enough to cope with him. So mistakenly, they have put the cart before the horse and accused you of all sorts of irresponsible behaviour just to warn you. This one's a bit, how can I stop him? This is not particularly nice. My boyfriend and I have been going together for nearly 2 years. I only see him every Monday because he's at work nearly every other day. But when he does come to see me, he keeps saying nasty things and telling me about other girls that he likes a lot. About 5 months ago, he told me he loved me. He must think something of me, or he wouldn't come to see me. I love him very much and wouldn't let him go for anything. Oh no. Please tell me what I can do to stop him saying nasty things and talking about other girls. That's from Jean in Warsaw. Jean, leave him. Really hope you did. Anyway, what's the answer? Probably put up with it. Expect so. Seemed to be the advice in the 70s. The only way you can try to do this is by telling him and showing him how much he upsets you by behaving like this. If you've been going out for such a long time, and if he has told you he loves you, he will probably be very upset to find out that you take him so seriously and will probably reassure you and not repeat his thoughtless behaviour. But if he does carry on, you could try telling him that if he's so keen on those other girls, he can try asking one of them for a date because you certainly aren't interested in having his company. That might work. It might scare him into realizing how much he has hurt you. There's a slight risk, though, that he'll agree to your suggestion. But to our mind, if a man will go off at the drop of a hat, he isn't worth keeping in the first place. And in the long run, it might be best to let him go. But we hope this doesn't happen in your case. I hope it did. He sounds like a right bloody nightmare. Oh dear. Now, there's a fantastic article in here which was flagged up on the cover, which is it's one of their lovely um, special features. This is part one. I don't have part two. This is part one, which is okay, what's the trouble? Now, it's basically it's a mixed bag. They've sorted basically all of life's problems into niggles, nuisances, and nasties. Now, niggles are irritating annoyances, like when your best mate keeps copying what you have to wear, or you have to decide on a career. Nuisances are problems that can make you really mad, like getting locked out of your house or having a really bad hairdo. Nasties, these are the bad problems, the problems with a capital P that no girl needs. Like, how do you cope if you get the sack? Oh dear. So, this is the problem. So these are the problems broken down into niggles, nuisances, and nasties. Now, there's also a picture of a girl pulling faces to explain whether it's a niggle, a nuisance, or a nasty. So this a nuisance is a bad hairdo, which I think we can all agree. There's an illustration of a girl getting a bad hairdo, just in case we weren't sure. This says, "Oh dear, have you ever come out of the hairdressing salon thinking you look worse than when you went in? Unfortunately, there's not much you can do about it except wash your mop and start again. But if the hairdresser has made a dreadful botch up, then you've every right to demand corrective treatment or your money back. It's best, though, to give the hairdresser an accurate idea of what you want and don't want in the first place before he starts." So, yeah, so that was a nuisance, having a bad headache. Another nuisance is getting locked out. There's a picture. No, it's not a picture. Obviously, it's an illustration of a girl who's got a policeman sort of climbing over her to get into the window, obviously, of her flat. Got locked out. Getting locked out of your home is more than a nuisance. It's a real drag. But don't do anything until you've asked for help from your neighbours. Perhaps your mum has been ultra efficient and maybe left a key with them. Or maybe there's a man about the house who is good at vaulting through closed windows. I think that's quite dangerous. If you don't get much help with the people next door, and it's vital you should get in, go to the police station and explain. If it's not that important, go round and see a friend, but don't forget to pop a note through the letterbox saying where you'll be. Then if you, this is quite confusing, then if you leave your friend's telephone number, your family can ring you when they get home. The days before mobiles. But to make sure you don't get stuck again, do have another key cut and leave it with a trustworthy neighbour. Never leave it under the doormat or on a string through the letterbox. Otherwise, you are practically inviting burglars to come in and pinch what they like, aren't you? Oh dear. You've got like a niggle, for example, is putting your foot in it in an embarrassing situation. Not for nasty, they have picked out fire. Yes, I would suggest that is quite nasty. This is I've read ahead of this, and it's like, seriously, I can't believe that this was written. But anyway, gonna go with it. Nasty. Burglars. If you're woken up one night by the sound of a foreign body, in inverted commas, moving around downstairs, that's not a euphemism. And you sincerely feel that it's burglars, don't rush down waving a poker about in his face. People do awful things when they're frightened, and a man, I can't believe this, and a man who is not usually prone to violence may well lash out if he's caught in the act, and you would end up far worse off than if you'd kept quiet. If you're lucky enough to have a phone in your room, Oh dear. Then dial 999. But if not, make a normal sounding sort of move. What the? Like turning over loudly in your bed or perhaps switching the radio on. A simple little action like that may well make him scarper. They're making this sound like you'd be enormously relaxed about the whole thing and just pop the radio on. However, if you describe, oh God, however, if you discover a burglar in your bedroom and he thinks that you're asleep, let him carry on thinking just that. It's the safest way. You've got to let him presume you can't see or hear a thing. But as soon as it's disappeared, get on to the police immediately. Well, that's a nice upbeat ending, isn't it? I can't believe the way that's worded. Anyway, on to lighter matters. This is a nuisance. No tights. Burgled is almost the same as finding you have no tights. Anyway, no tights. One of the most infuriating things that can happen to you is running out of tights an hour before you're due to arrive at a fabulous party. I don't know about you, but that really is one of the biggest worries I've ever had in my life. However, don't panic, because where there's a will, there's a way, and all that. If your mum and sister are without tights, and you haven't got any posh trousers that could do instead of your new dress, there are still a few lifesavers to try before giving up. Have a look. Oh God! Have a look at your old holy tights. And if you've got a pair that is hole free in the and if you've got a pair that is hole free in the right leg and another pair that are okay in the left leg, simply cut off the bad sides and put them on over each other. Oh my God! Aren't they just going to fall down? That might be a problem if they are different shades. Oh no, but that can be easily solved by boiling them up together. If you've got time to boil up your tights together before you go out. She's already said that it's a problem that you've just found out you haven't got any tights, but we've got time to boil our tights up. Anyway, but if you haven't got any more tights, well, there's only one thing for it. Make your legs look as pretty as possible and go without tights. The thought of it, the horror of going out without tights. Shave them first. Paint your toenails. And if you haven't got any leg makeup, cover them with a thin layer of foundation. Oh God. The other nasty tights spot to be in is laddering a brand new pair while on the way to the party. Still, if you always carry a bottle of clear nail varnish in your bag, that'll stop it going any further. But if you've come out unprepared, another great ladder stopper is slightly damp soap. But whatever you do, don't panic. The more you play around with damaged tights, the worse they're going to get. Just relax. She's telling us, just relax. She's wound us right up about the lack of tights. Oh, I can't wait to go and boil up some tights. Another nuisance, so it's not too bad, but another nuisance is penniless. Have you ever been in that awful predicament of discovering you're without money at a very inopportune moment? Well, yeah. Don't despair, though, because there is always help at hand. Here are a few situations where you're likely to be temporarily embarrassed, that's inverted commas, on the bus. Politely explain to the conductor what has happened, and he'll still issue you with a ticket. All he'll do is ask for your name and address so that so that he can send you the bill, small though it will be. In a restaurant, ask to see the manager. He may ask you to wash up. More than likely, he'll ask you to leave your name and address with proof of who you are. Uh, so that the bill can then be sent on. In a shop, when you've just got to the cash desk with a brand new dress and she's got it all wrapped up for you, well, the best thing to do here is to apologise to the assistant and either put the dress back on the rail or ask her if you can put it to one side while you rush home to get the loot to pay for it. It's so sweet, isn't it? And this one made me laugh. Stuck in a foreign country. Just it says it so casually, as if like, yeah, what the heck? Just make a trip to the British Embassy. They'll make sure you get home safely. Right, that's it. Wash the hands of that. Oh dear. Nasty turning over. I mean, it's never ending. This article is the gift that keeps on giving. This one is a niggle is choosing a job. So this isn't too big a problem. This is just choosing a problem. Choosing a job. One of the biggest decisions you're going to have to make in life is what to do with your career. Obviously, because it will affect many, many years. Your decision should be made with quite a lot of serious thought. But one of the most important things to do is think of yourself in this instance and don't listen too carefully to the people who tell you being a nurse or an air hostess is really marvellous, because that's the only thing girls could do in the 70s. It might be all right for them. Might be all right for them, but it will be you that spends 8 or so hours a day involved with the job you choose. If you have a vague idea of what you want to do, then it is useful talking to people who do the same sort of thing, and they'll tell you the nice parts of the job and the not so nice parts. Find a job you're happy doing, as there's nothing worse than being bored 5 weeks of the year, 5 days of the week, 50 weeks of the year, is there? Oh dear. Air hostess or nurse? That's your choice. Nuisance is lost a heel. It's a bit like not having any tights. I wonder if you're going to have to boil something. Lost a heel. If you haven't suffered with this problem as yet, watch out, your days are numbered. The trouble is, if you're stuck in outer Mongolia with no people or shops within miles, there's not much that you'll be able to do about that heel. But then at least you'll be able to hobble in peace and quiet. Obviously, if you're near a heel bar, your problem is solved. You don't say. You've only got to limp as far as the shops. But if there's nothing so useful around, there are a few things that you could do to fix it temporarily. Oh God, I can't wait. What are we going to have to do? Either go into the nearest ironmonger's and sweet talk the fella in there to get going with a hammer and a few nails, or buy some glue. Not any old glue will do. You'll need something fairly strong, like araldite. It's said to hold aeroplanes together, so we reckon it should do the trick with your shoe. But of course, if the weather's okay, why not just slip your shoes and tights off altogether and go around barefoot? She told us in the last one that we were not to go tightless. But now she's suggesting it as an option. Finally, I don't think I can cope with any more of these. By the way, Nasty is getting the sack, which obviously isn't a good thing. And another one, Nasty is scared of dying. So, yeah, as I say, mixed bag. But a niggle is got a flirty friend. I know we've already talked about friends who copy, and that's bad enough. But even worse is the friend who tries to steal all your boyfriends. And worse still is the girl who succeeds. She's plain unbeatable. Seriously, if she does succeed, perhaps the man in question wasn't really worth it anyway. For he couldn't really be stolen unless he wanted to be, unless the girl was offering him something that you didn't. And you don't want to be that type of girl, oh, heaven forbid. But if your mate is forever trying to get your boys getting your boys to fancy her. It all boils down to the lack of confidence thing again. She's trying to convince herself that she's as pretty or as sparkly as you are. And the and the only way she can prove that is getting your man interested. It's a mean trick. But if you do have a girlfriend who's always trying to take your man, then obviously either tell her that that makes you very unhappy or steer clear of her. She's not much of a friend, is she? Right, here we are. There's also a nice illustration of girl trying to steal boyfriend. It's nice. Anyway, I'm going to go and boil some tights for a second. Oh God, this is just the best headline of any article I've ever found in any of the magazines. I just can't believe that this is the title. I turned over and I almost wet myself when I saw it. The headline is, the title of the article is, "How many goldfish have you killed?" I know it's not funny. Dead goldfish aren't funny. But really? Oh dear. How many goldfish have you killed? None? Read on. They could be in deep water right now. It's quite a dull article about how to look after goldfish. But oh dear. Yeah, there's just advice. Don't put them in a round bowl. Don't get them from the fair, that kind of thing. It says don't. Oh dear. It says, if you want to put some plants in, some people will dash into the garden, grab some greenery, give it a wash, and pop it in. Who the hell would do that? Get your plants from a pet shop. Tell them that you have a goldfish tank, and they'll show you a selection that are suitable. They're very cheap, usually around 5p a plant. Don't overdo it. The recommended one plant per 2.5 square centimetre, or God, it's centimetres, or 1 square inch of tank will be fine. Now comes the feeding. The general rule is to give fish enough per day to cover a 1p pence. Never give your fish food late at night, even if you've forgotten to feed them during the day. Fish don't eat when it gets dark. I don't know. Sorry, I know dead goldfish isn't funny, but oh dear. Anyway, how many goldfish have you killed? Moving on. This is sorry, it's a Gary Glitter trigger coming up. This is OK Swap Shop. Do love a swap shop. This one, oh dear. This one is something to swap. Send details, not actual items, to OK Swap Shop. Address on first page. I have a large amount of clothing which I would like to swap for a pair of ladies' Levi trousers, size 14, and ladies' embroidered jacket, size 16. Some items of clothing are summer dress, skirt, black cardigan, corduroy dress, slacks, blouses, etc. For more information, please write to Miss A. Podnicks, 44, Fotherington Road, Corby, Northants. Oh dear. I've got Remember Me This Way LP by Gary Glitter. I'd like to swear, no wonder you'd want to swap it. I'd like to swap for any David Gates, Smokey, Cockney Rebel, or K-Tel Greatest Hits. Oh, K-Tel Greatest Hits. That's Jackie Francis, 19 Gateway Close, Northwood. I'd like to swap a David Cassidy silk scarf or patch for any Bay City Rollers scarf or colour picks. That's a BCR fan. She's obviously gone off David Cassidy, moved on to Bay City Rollers. Yeah. This on the next page is Be Okay Beautiful. There's a picture on the front, which a girl kind of in a sort of Pierrot clown kind of black and white picture, obviously. No colour here. I just wanted to just quickly pick these bits out, which was so this is Be Okay Beautiful, our make you look good guide. Pack up your bikini, store away your sun lotion. Autumn is here. Colours are deeper and more positive, and products are more fun. I don't see why. Why are they more fun in the autumn? Anyway, to add a little laugh to winter chills, make pretty faces with the autumn shades mustard, grey, wine, navy, and deep green. Use the misty shades like green, navy, and grey onto your eyes and a deep wine, shiny lips for a tender look. What's a tender look? Try a completely new look for the change of seasons. It means a totally new you and lots more fun. There's some other advice of what to do with your makeup in the autumn, but it finishes with know-it-alls. Autumn is my favourite time of year. I hate cold weather, but I am one of those girls who, unfortunately, however much I try and diet, always looks a little plump. In the winter, I'm no longer surrounded by skinny girls in horses or shorts, as we're all covered up. It's fairer, I think. That's Jill from Brentwood in Essex. But the beauty editor has replied, True, Jill, but don't launch into stodgy winter food. Think about next summer's waistline. It's very strict when it comes to dieting. Anyway, it's lovely. I'm going to just pop off and kill some goldfish. Okay, I'm on the final home stretch, which is OK Helps You. It's the final problem page. I don't know why we had an earlier problem page. I'm confused, but anyway, there's also this one is it's a fact of life, and there's rather gratuitously and rather pointlessly just a picture of a naked girl, a naked woman. I mean, not naked girl. I don't know why. I got nothing. Anyway. First problem is did make me laugh. Also, my little note to self, I've just written bottoms. You'll see why. I'm 14 and quite normal. My problem is boys and men's bottoms. I sit in the bus and look at them. Some of my friends think I'm on the turn. What can I do? You can see why my note to self was bottoms. Oh dear, this is the answer. And I too don't know what on the turn means. Neither does Pat, who's answered this. I don't quite know what you mean by on the turn, but you aren't sexually abnormal simply because you particularly like one part of the male anatomy. Boys and men are often particularly aroused or attracted to certain parts of girls' bodies, such as breasts, legs, or bottoms, as in your case. Girls don't usually have particular preferences for certain parts of men's bodies, don't they? Pat, I think you missed out. Most normal girls find all parts of boys attractive. But there is nothing abnormal about you. If you don't want your friends to tease you, don't tell them about your preference. I think you'll find that as you get older, you'll like everything about boys. Not just their bottoms. Oh dear. Moving on. I don't know why I do this, but I love to tempt and flirt with my boyfriend. I suppose I like to think I'm a temptress. When in bed, I tease him and make advances, but I decline when he reacts. I have only realised I do this since he walked out one night after our lovemaking, and and said I led him on and aroused him and then refused him. Why do I do this, and can I stop, do you think? Oh, God, Pat's going to have a word, isn't she? I'm not quite sure from what you've said. Actually, I was a bit confused as well, whether or not you are actually sleeping with your boyfriend. But whether you are or not, it's most unfair to arouse him to the point where he must have sexual satisfaction and then turn him down and expect him to quietly enjoy the joke. Both men and women find it difficult to reach a point of arousal, almost orgasm, and then not be sexually fulfilled. But men tend to be a bit more upset, both emotionally and physically, if they are denied fulfillment. I expect that you have no other motive in mind than to prove how attractive you are to your boyfriend and to tease him a little bit. But don't try to stop. But you must try to stop this habit if you can. Sometimes, if a girl teases a boy beyond endurance, I wish I'd read ahead. Sometimes, if a girl teases a boy beyond endurance, he simply can't stop himself from forcing her to have intercourse with him. Oh my God. Which is extremely distressing to both, and especially to the girl. So don't push your boyfriend or you'll end up in that sort of situation. Oh my word. That escalated to a much darker place than I thought. This one is, I really hope, no, not this one. On my back is a dark line running along my spine. I was told it was nothing to worry about, but the thing is I can't wear halters or swimsuits because I'm too embarrassed and people might think it's dirt, which it most certainly isn't. What can I do? Pat says, I think perhaps you are too conscious about this line, and I'm sure most people wouldn't notice at all or think it was dirt, even if they did see it. Lots of people have odd patches and areas of skin which are different in texture, tone, or colour to the rest of them, and there isn't anything you can do about it on a permanent basis. So give it up. If you really are worried and self-conscious, why not buy some cover-up makeup for that particular area? You'll probably have to get someone to apply it for you if it's an awkward place, and it will wash off when you go swimming, but it might help if you want to wear a low-cut dress. Pat's really not that helpful about these problems, is she? Anyway. The final problem. It has been 9 weeks since my last period and 2.5 weeks since I've had sexual intercourse. It's quite complicated, this one. Keep up. I'm still waiting for last month's period. So what should I do? If I need to visit my doctor, what should I say to him as he is a man? By the way, I'm nearly 18. Pat says, you don't say in your letter whether the last time you had intercourse is the only time since you last had a period, but whether it is or not. If you did not take contraceptive precautions when you made love, you may be pregnant. There could be all sorts of reasons as to why your period is overdue. As I explained to another reader, periods can be delayed because of anxiety, change in routine, ill health, or severe and none too sensible dieting. But I think you should have a pregnancy test to make sure. You don't have to go to your doctor for this, although you can if you wish. You can have a test made at the chemist's. They're those which operate a pregnancy testing service. We'll say so, probably in the window of the shop. Or you can have a test made if you go along to an FPA clinic. Don't be afraid to go to your doctor, though. He will understand that you are anxious, shy, and embarrassed and try to help you relax. He will be able to help you too, if in turn he finds out that you are pregnant. But I hope this isn't the case. Pat's not getting involved at all, is she, this week? We've reached the end. I did enjoy that. I'm going to be boiling tights and killing my goldfish as soon as I leave. On the back cover is the most fab 70s hairdo, which is, its headline, Poor Girl, She Has Such Greasy Hair. And it's the new Polycare, new freedom for your hair. If you've always had to settle for drab hairstyles because of limp, greasy hair, try the new Polycare Lemon Care Conditioner. Polly takes care so you'll never be a poor girl again. Well, there we are. And then you can style your hair into this stylish 70s do. Anyway. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That was OK Magazine, September the 13th, 1975. And I'll see you next time. Bye.